new technology to work better and make more money. Now, experts from Resolution Circle linked to the University of Johannesburg say companies must modernize to stay competitive. A recent PwC report shows that the world's top mining companies have lost revenue. This is for 2 years in a row now as costs rise and prices drop. For more on this now, we speak to Mkhutshulwa, an executive at the Resolution Cycle. Thank you so very much for your time on the agenda this hour. So the mining sector this time grapples with all of these challenges that really need immediate solutions. Let's start at how did we get here and how do we move about getting to a point where we get the solutions that we need for the sector?
Good morning to you, Mkhutshulwa. Good morning to the viewership, and thank you for the invite on this important topic. Like you were saying on your introduction, my name is Mkhutshulwa. I'm working for Resolution Cycle. It's an artisan training center based in Johannesburg. Back to your question, we are living in a very challenging and unprecedented areas. Space. I think let's just start by saying our analysis and a view is such a way that we need to have the right skills and the workforce that is skilled to be able to match the latest technology. And when I'm talking about the latest technology, what am I referring to? We're talking about things like your automation, your robotics, which I think they are very advanced technology within the mining sector. Failure that, we are going to have a challenge whereby we've got a declining in commodity price. And the reason really is just what I've alluded to you, Mkhutshulwa, that it is very imperative that we bridge the gap. And bridging the gap is about having the right qualification in the workspace, having the right skill set, so that it will then be able to complement the relevant and the latest technology. Because the reality of the matter is, we are in a space where if we don't have the right technology, how do we then be able to, have the right, I would say, results that we are anticipating? Back to you.
And Mr. Mkhutshulwa, you make such valid points there, and so much has also been said around the decline in commodity prices as well, and the role that they have played in order for us to get to where we are now. Just how has this decline in commodity prices and rising operational costs over the past 2 years impacted the profitability of South African firms specifically?
So that's a very important question. And I'll start by saying, again, if we don't have the industrial skills that are relevant in terms of the mining, automatically you can think for yourself, we are not going to have the relevant and the right output, because the right qualification with the right skill set and the industrial skills. So how do you then bridge the gap? You are looking at your business, mining for that matter, because that's what we are talking about. And you then say, obviously we have high unemployment rate. The economy is very weak. The political climate factors are not necessarily, on the side of mining, so to speak. I think we're really not going to need the government and the private sector to work together. And the reason why I'm saying that, mining cannot just work in isolation. There are so many factors that we need to put together for you to be able to have to say, you know what, I think I'm looking at this direction for me to be able to have the right output or results. So in essence, back to your question, I think we really need to have a workforce that is very adaptable, innovative, and we are then able to deliver on the ever-changing world. Because, we are living in a very ever-changing technology. So if we are not going to catch up on that, we will always left behind. And I think in essence, all what we are saying is the right technology with the right skill set can work together. They can give a better results.
And speaking of adapting and the ever-changing world, you actually just led me straight to my next question, because I'm keen on finding out just how do we use the digital tools rather at our disposal, or innovative technologies to help the mining companies remain competitive in an ever global market that is also increasingly challenging versus what you were actually talking about now, insofar as those challenges are concerned, but also bridging that gap.
Yeah, I think, colleagues, let's just put a scenario together, right? you have a company and you are not necessarily you haven't done your gap analysis. Gap analysis meaning the kind of qualifications that your cohort have, the kind of skills, competency, those are important. You then need to say, you then begin to say, how do I make sure that I elevate my skill set, or rather my employees in a different level? We're talking about the training. We talk about the work integrated programs, right? But not only that, when you talk about advanced technology, we talk about the simulation, the drones for blasting, that will be able to accurately do the job without having assumption of this technology is what they're going to do. So in essence, all I'm saying is you have the robotics. They can do the job. Obviously, I'm saying this with sincerity that goes with it, because when we're talking about technology, automatically people have an assumption that they're going to lose jobs. But the truth of the matter is, we are in the world that, we need to have those technology. Automated maintenance system. So in essence, when you are doing your forecast, you are then begin to say, if I have this type of machines, how much productivity am I going to have within this mine? Unlike having an assumption that, maybe this, maybe that, we have technology that might change that. And immediately when you do that, you are then begin to say, how do I then take the same cohort that I'm working with, pair them with the latest technology, and making sure that they've got the relevant skills, the relevant competency and qualification. We need not to import skills outside South Africa if we can do those type of training. Back to you, Mko.
Look, I'm actually glad that you put our minds at ease, by saying that technology and human capital can actually coexist without one outphasing the other. So from your experience, maybe in what you've seen in the development of technology as well as the digital era also taking over, what are some of the examples of technology-driven solutions that have already shown measurable improvements in productivity, particularly when we look at the space of mining operations in the country?
Thanks, Mko. Let's just take our company, Resolution Cycle. We are an artisan training center, right? So what we do is we train individuals, companies in the latest, I would say trends, or we call them trades. But trades is really the programs. We talk about the boiler maker, the spray painting, the fitter, turner, all these programs that we call them career proof. It means it's career for the future. Back to what you are asking me, how do we then make sure that we align with the thinking? There's a program in our institutions that calls Work Integrated Program. What we do is we take the people that have been in the space that are working currently. We then look at what they have in terms of their skill set.
Continue, we can still hear you.
Oh, okay. Apologies for that. We then take those people that are working in any institution for that matter. We then begin to say, when we look at the gaps analysis, what do they need in terms of matching the latest way of thinking? We then say, okay, come into a space, let's train you on certain traits that will make you relevant, that will make you adaptable, that will make you innovative, and make you relevant to us now. So that program is there. And there's so many other programs that I wouldn't mention in the interest of time, that if the student or anybody from at home, they can come into our institution, we can then, I suppose, introduce them in terms of the skills for the future and, those type of things.
And what's interesting now is that you say there's also a need, and that need that you talk about is that there's a need for constant upskilling and constant evolving, particularly if you are to remain competitive in that industry. So just before we wrap it up, just what role, Mzi, do you think government policy and investment in technology should play in supporting the mining sector to overcome some of these challenges that we tackled at the top of the chat?
Thanks, Mko. Listen, it goes without saying.
Yeah.
We need the government. The government needs the private sector. We need to work together. There should be a way in which, like for instance, make a practical example, quick one. Fund skills programs that can be introduced in the schools level in terms of the technical and mining. And then the second one will be enabling regulations. I'm talking about, we have, the red tapes that are impaired people not to continue doing business either or. So we need to have less red tape to attract foreign direct investment. I think by doing that, we are then begin to work together. Because in essence, government need private sector as much as private sector need the government. So they need to work together.
Look, I must thank you so much for your time and insights right here on the program. Hope to chat again on that. Thanks very much for your time on the agenda. That is, of course, Mkhutshulwa, who's executive at Resolution Circle, sharing insights on how technology can help the mining sector boost productivity and navigate ongoing financial challenges.